Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Go ahead, Supervisor. What's next?
Well, the last item on the agenda, besides the minutes, which we won't talk about, are the Fiddletown Bridge clear width and construction staging criteria for the bridge replacement project. And this irritates me a little bit. We've hired a Drake Haglin and Associates, a very good engineering firm out there. And it appears to me they should be making the decisions on some of these things rather than come to the Board of Supervisors now and say, well, we don't want to be the bad guys, you guys be the bad guys. So it appears to me if you're paying engineers a lot of money to do something, they ought to be making the decisions. In this case, it involves what is the span of the width going to be? Do you go with a 40-foot clear width bridge with 8-foot shoulders, 12 lanes, 8-foot shoulders, or do you go with a 30-foot bridge with I think it's 4-foot shoulder, or you could go under county standards, 38-foot with 5.25-foot shoulders, or do you have a 19-foot bridge, just the way it is with no shoulders?
Well, the people in Fiddletown, are they weighed in on
There's a
what
few
they would
people
like?
involved in the process, and it is going to affect some people's property there. It always does when you do something like this. But it appears to me they're making recommendations to the Board of Supervisors. I think that's their job, just to move forward with the project. This one seems pretty clear to me. They've recommended the 30-foot clear span, clear width with the 4-foot shoulders. That appears to be the way to go. We don't want to go with a 19-foot bridge with no shoulders. They're not recommending that, and they said nobody in their right mind would recommend that. The others, the 38 and 40-foot, are just too wide. So we're going to have to make an exception on this. We vote for that. We do it. The other thing they seem to be struggling with is the length of your construction season, 1 or 2 seasons. Well, it appears to me everybody would want to get it done quicker rather than later. So 1 year, but then how do you route the traffic around it? You're going to have to go through the creek. Do you go with 1 lane? And they're saying clearly that's not the way to go because it's going to stop traffic. So 2 lanes around it, 1 season, that sounds pretty good to me.
I'm not sure of what the creek conditions are out there, but I think we might be talking about the drought a little bit later, but
yeah,
this might be at least a time when there's not a lot of water in there.
Well, no, they can get through the creek, so there's no problem there, but it just appears to me that you're paying engineers a lot of money. They shouldn't even have to come back to the board for something like this. It's just common sense. But anyway, that's the extent of the agenda.
That's not the same group that had built the other bridge out there in Fiddletown.
I think they're working. This group is working on 3 different bridges now,
okay.
And it's come to us before. But they've come to a point now where they have to come back to the board for to give them the blessing. So,
okay.
One item I want to bring up real fast. Sure. The fire bills are out now. The fire fee or the fire tax on state responsibility areas, the second billing has come out now about 3 weeks ago, coming due the first week of April. So I want to tell people you need to pay that bill. Some people are saying I don't have to pay it. Well, what's happening is it may be turned over by the court. We don't know that. But if you have that bill, it's like another $2 and roughly 35 cents this year because they have increased it slightly the second year. So now instead of being 150, it's 152, 35, something like that. But you get a reduction of $35 if you already are paying a fire fee, like the Amador Fire Protection District. Right. People should pay that bill. They can also file the protest so that if it is turned over in court, because Board of Equalization is saying that those people that file the protests, if it's turned over, they'll be paid back. As far as everybody else, I'm not sure. The court may just say you got to pay everybody back. But we'll see. But you should file that protest. That's the way to do it.
I think that protest was actually, I'm not sure anymore, so kind of throwing this out, but needed to be paid in 2 places or go through we'd have to go back to.
There's only 1 paper you need to.
Now there's only 1.
You need to file that 1 paper, and
okay.
If anybody has questions, they can call the board office, and we'll tell them where to access that. Or you just go to Board of Equalization onto their website, and I think you can get the form there.
How is this going forward legally? Is RC involved with this?
No, it's the Howard Jarvis.
This is Howard Jarvis.
Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association is the one challenging it. I would think there's going to be a ruling any
through
time
San
now.
Diego.
No, this is statewide.
Oh, okay, but I thought possibly it was San Diego that had put the suit forward.
San Diego County was unhappy about it, a lot of their supervisors, because they have rural areas too. But there are many people around the state that are unhappy about
Right.
it, and that's why Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association moved forward with it.
Okay, and any idea where that is in litigation?
We'll see. I mean, whenever the court rules, it's like our Indian gaming. It's been going for 10 years strong and still not a decision. So the other issue that's hot on everybody's top of their list right now is drought and water. We talked briefly before the show. Congressman Garamendi and Congressman LaMalfa have come out with a package. And I know two of the dams. One is the Sites Reservoir site that they would like to push forward and have a dam put on there. The other is the Shasta Dam that they'd like to raise. And then there's one more dam that's included in that. The problem with these proposals, maybe they can get them through Congress, maybe they can't, but there's no funding attached to it. These are just ideas. You know, I have a big problem with Congressman Garamendi. I listened to him in Washington recently when we were on a trip back there for California State Association of Counties. But he said the South State, I want to congratulate Southern California for coming up with storage. We haven't done anything in Northern California. Well, he's just represented his area for about almost 4 years, 3.5 years now. So he doesn't really know what we've done up here. He's been too busy running for office. While we have tried to put storage in place, we get nothing but kickback from people like him and people like his party and the environmental community not wanting one dam to be built in our state, and that's our basic problem. We've done some conservation. We need more groundwater management. We need some dams to be put into place. That's a comprehensive package.
I'd listened to Tom McClintock, and he does a reach out call, and he's very much in favor of the dams that are above Folsom. That one of them's almost entirely has been built.
The Auburn Dam,
right.
basically.
And would put a lot of storage as well. So which would probably help this area. Garamendi's, if I was right from just briefly what I had heard, and along with the Republican, I can't remember his name at the moment, but was to feed the Central Valley. Mm-hmm. So that idea moving forward, or at least looking at that, seems to be a good step to me.
Well, it is, but I'm glad that Congressman Garamendi's finally representing his district after he was nearly beat by basically an unknown to much of the community up there, a supervisor from Colusa County.
Right.
So I just think Congressman Garamendi stuck his foot in his mouth very wide when he said that we have done nothing up here. We have tried to do things, and it's people like him that have made the roadblocks there.
It's really hard to get the political will, and like you said, all the roadblocks whenever almost anything that wants to be built is certainly put to the test.
Right. We also met with Senator Feinstein in Washington, and while I'm not of her party, I respect Senator Feinstein. She tries to do things. She has worked hard on ag issues. So she is trying on the same side. As she said, the congressional bill that was going to be a full release of water, and basically it would just say the Environmental Species Act is
right.
done away with temporarily. She said that's dead on arrival in the Senate.
A very interesting thing, we just have a minute, but from the news reports that come out that through the rains that Southern California and Los Angeles area, I believe now has filled a lot of their reservoirs through there, and so they're standing pretty good for water.
Well, they
whereas
built
up here, we're
their
running into a lot of things. Also, to the credit, I remember when I was in Los Angeles, where
right.
they cut a lot of big holes in the areas and let the rainwater run down into the aquifer.
They built their reservoirs, and by the way, a lot of their water is still coming from the north to fill up their reservoirs. So
okay, water for the south and water for the fish, none for the plant life.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, lettuce. Okay, thanks for watching us, and remember I said that, not Richard Forster. So stay with us. There's more to come on TSPN's News. You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.